I brought Mark an anniversary present. Today's our anniversary. I don't know if you know this.
Oh my gosh! Happy anniversary!
Yeah, I mean, and who doesn't want to spend their anniversary with Darren White, Mark?
Exactly.
Well, there's no question.
I mean, there's no question about it.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
That's exciting.
Happy anniversary! I brought you Darren.
That's
everybody.
exciting for you.
It is. It is.
I mean, we might need a round of applause. I don't know if you can find that on the soundbox.
Yeah.
Guy,
Well, tell us how many years.
19.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Good for you
gosh! I mean, it feels like
right.
like a yesterday. Yesterday. Yeah. Sorry. Thanks. Yeah. I got it. I almost got it there. So-
Darren's maybe here is my gift. Okay, how about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Darren is here. Darren White, for those of you that don't know, running for Albuquerque mayor.
Yes.
It's coming down to it.
3
right?
weeks away. Is that crazy?
Yeah, it feels like it's been fast.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe for me.
And it does for me too.
It does?
I mean, yes, absolutely. Now it'll probably slow down these last 3 weeks a little bit, but no, it's been very. I mean, it's hard to believe that here we are. But it's still somewhat of a low information type election.
Oh, there's no question.
Yeah.
I think that part of it is that, you have what's happened with such a big field. I think funds have been frozen up a little bit. You got some money. There's a little bit of money in a few other candidates. And then, of course, Keller fixing the system so that he gets public financing and nobody else does. So what that really does is it limits the ability for most candidates to get the word out there. You having been more well-known, obviously that helps.
It helps a lot. Absolutely. And if you say otherwise, I mean, it's not my charming personality, but maybe. But no, it absolutely helps. And so, but that doesn't mean you keep your foot on the throttle. 3 weeks to go, and you just keep going hard.
When does early voting start? Is it?
Well, it kind of already has.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I wasn't sure.
It's only at the one location, which is at 1500 Lomas. Saturday, it opens up at all the early voting locations.
Okay, this Saturday.
Yep.
And we got a big debate. We're going to talk a little bit about your upcoming debate, which will be on KOAT tomorrow night, on Wednesday night, and actually tonight by the time the people are watching this. So that'll be kind of interesting that we can follow that up right after with this interview. So people can kind of get a little bit more information. So, well,
I think I wonder, first of all, where is the race at? Where do you see this? I mean, obviously we have a mayor in the city of Albuquerque where most polling shows most people want someone else. It's been 8 years. You have skyrocketing crime and homelessness. You have a lot of different issues here, and plenty of people have said, we want somebody else. However, you have a very large field here. Things are fragmented. So I'd love to know, where do you think this race is and what's going to turn this thing one way or another? And are we headed for a runoff no matter what?
I don't think there's any question it's going to a runoff. With 6 candidates, nobody's going to get 50% plus one. Look, I mean, when the Journal poll came out a week and a half ago, I woke up on Sunday morning and I had a good morning. I don't think Keller had a good morning when he woke up because he was at 29%. And that's disastrous for an incumbent, and especially an incumbent who's been in office for 8 years. And so, there's a big chunk of undecided. But I liked where I'm positioned, a strong second place. And, and that's what I've been saying from the beginning, is that I want to get into a runoff with him. One-on-one, put your record up, and, and I'll talk about what I think we should do, to correct where we're headed as a city, because we're in trouble. And everybody realizes that. And, Keller's, he wants to talk about anything but his record.
Right.
We've been out doing these forums now. And so you pick up on what everybody's going to say, basically. And, the mayor has just said that, he thinks that we're making a comeback, and he believes that he is the only one to usher us into great times again. And so I disagree with him, obviously. But I think, what else is he going to say?
Right.
That our city's in great shape. You look at that Journal poll, which we're going to get into, and the not just his 29%, but all of the other questions that were asked were just disastrous for him. And so we're going to keep pedal to the metal, full throttle to election day, and work as hard as we can get to be number 1 or number 2.
Well, okay, so a lot of questions that come back, like to me, for instance, on X. So I'm pretty active on X from time to time. And, okay, all right.
Wow.
Yeah, Mark tells me to calm down on X. That's all right, though. I appreciate it.
I like it.
I get out there occasionally and I talk about things. But the biggest thing that people ask me all the time about you is, sometimes people say, oh, you're not a real conservative. What's he really going to do to fix crime? What's he really going to do to fix this or that? this is your opportunity.
Yeah,
because,
I'm a conservative Republican,
right.
and I've been for my adult life. I mean, that's just who I am. I believe in a limited government. I believe in fiscal conservative. I being fiscally responsive. I believe in all the things that conservatives believe in. And so I'll be very clear about it. What we need to do is, as it relates to crime, first of all, we're going to get a new chief of police. We're going to get a new chief of police.
Yeah, we'd have to kick you off the show right now.
Yeah,
if the answer
if there was
no.
even if I was like waffling on that.
Look at him.
And so, it's not just getting a new chief. It's getting somebody into that job that recognizes they've got a hell of a lot of work to do. I want them to be strong, but I also want that person to be inspirational. I want it to be somebody that the officers can be proud of, but the public as well. And I think that's kind of been missing. I'm also sensing, as I've been out there, and this is, it's upsetting and it's alarming. People are losing confidence, not just in the chief and his staff. They're losing confidence in the police department as a whole because they're frustrated. They're calling because things are happening, and they either show up hours later or they don't show up at all.
Right.
And so what we need to do is get a chief in place. And then what I'm going to ask them to do is get back to the basics, which is proactive policing. The mayor is very clear, since he doesn't even talk about hiring 1,200 cops like he doesn't even talk about it anymore. What he talks about when he says we're going to fight crime is two things. He says we're going to invest in technology and civilians. And yeah, that's a head scratcher. It's cops that are going to make you boots on the ground, officers out there every single day, working hard to make our streets safe. That's what's going to help us become safer, our communities with a better quality of life. And so get out there and do traffic stops. Speed cameras do not do anything except print money. And gosh, 50% of people don't even pay those.
Well, can I ask you something real quick on this? Because this is where you have a very unique lane in this particular race, and that is you are going to have to be the face of recruitment when it comes to APD, because they're going to have to know that the person running the show has been on the street, understands what they're going through, and will back them to the hilt when it's time to start recruiting. I think what's been devastating in this state and in this country is when you have the job of policing that has been demonized the way it has, it's created a recruiting crisis here. And so to me, it seems that you would be the guy to be able to pull us out of that crisis, simply because these guys are going to be able to identify with you, and you've got to be the front man when it comes to recruitment.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you do is you try to solicit people that want to come join you and make their city safer. And I know it's probably shouldn't say that right now, but crime fighters, people that want to get in there and roll up their sleeves and become part of the Albuquerque Police Department, part of a team that's committed to making our streets safer. I think people are very concerned. The DOJ, there's a lot of reasons why people have not signed up for the police department. But those are, you can't use those as excuses. I think when we go out there and we say, be a part of something better, help us make our city safer, and fight crime. I mean, really fight crime. And so that will be my message. And I think we can reach people, we can talk to them, and I think we can attract people to become part of this effort because Albuquerque is worth fighting for.
Well, and can I ask one other thing? I think it's kind of an interesting situation here. And I do think that since Trump's election, I think the way things are spoken about and the way certain things that are just patently true and everybody knows it. You're talking about the crime in Albuquerque, homelessness, and everybody knows it. You go driving along San Mateo now and you say, this is not the same city that I came to in my early 20s. So we were just not the same city anymore.
It's a cesspool.
Right. And so we're seeing these things saying, my gosh, we can do better than this. Everybody knows we can do better than this. But if you notice that there's a certain kind of twist in language now that will allow you to be able to say, look, this is the way it is, and let's just call things out for what they are.
Well, too often we try to be touchy-feely, right? And we've got a crime problem. And so we want to attract people into this profession that are committed to doing just that. And so, yeah, for some people, it'd be like, aren't we supposed to be kinder and gentler? Sure. But you can also still have that commitment, that fire to go out there and fight crime on our streets and make them safer and turn our city around. And that's the message that we're going to convey. And I think we will get some people who are like very concerned, like what's going on with the police department? What are I think we can reach them. And I'm prepared to do that.
What do you think is missing right now with the police department? Like, why is the response so low? Is it just, you think it's just merely numbers? We have low numbers. We don't have enough police officers to respond to everything. Do you think they're being told maybe more hands off on things? I mean, what's your
culture?
The culture.
I think also, again, as I talk about that chief that I want to hire, a chief that the officers can be proud of. I think we're lacking in that right now. I think considerably. And so, I mean, it's difficult around the country. Agencies are having trouble attracting people. And, we just can't say, well, it's COVID and it's DOJ. Sure, those are contributing factors. It was. But maybe we're missing people out there. Back when I got involved in law enforcement, a very long time ago, I might add, we loved the job so much we would do it for free. That's how much we wanted police officers. Those are the people I want to speak to. I want to attract people into this profession that would be willing to give up a paycheck. We're not going to ask them to, but they would be willing to go out there and join us in this effort to turn our city around. And if you're not committed to that and you're just looking to punch a clock from 9 to 5, don't bother.
Wrong job.
Wrong job.
What are your? I mean, I don't even know the latest standings on this national this deployment by the governor to have the National Guard here to help support the police officers in Albuquerque. I don't even know if that's still going on right now or not. Okay.
It is, yes.
And what are your thoughts on that? I'm just curious. Do you think that was a good call? Do you support that?
I understand why she did it. If you look at her emergency declaration, she said that the crime problem is so bad in Albuquerque that the police department isn't equipped to handle it. It's a pretty damning statement. If I'm the chief of police, and I see that in a governor's declaration, I'm going to go, wow, that's not really a good look for me now, is it?
Well, and they had that exact issue because Medina had to come out and say, oh, I wanted the help. This was an absolute Bigfoot move by the governor going after Tim Keller. Make no mistake, they didn't coordinate this at all.
Yeah, well, it sure wasn't flowery language that she put it in. I mean, she called it what it is. And so, look, I understand why she did it. I don't like the way they were deployed. I'm a former, 82nd Airborne paratrooper, and the polo shirts and the khakis and the loafers. The National Guard is a force of fighting men. They're not a temp service. And that's what I say. Look, let them be in their vehicles, military vehicles. I completely support Pace Comitatus. We do not need law enforcement officers enforcing the law. But you can have them out there and be the eyes and ears and give them a police radio and say, hey, there's knuckleheads, I think we could use some officers over here and have a presence in our community, but also assist law enforcement. Having them stand out at a car accident or, a homicide, standing next to a tape, that is not what our National Guard is all about. Right. And so and
you can look at the way they were deployed in DC. That's a pretty good example of what you're talking about, which is being more eyes and ears, being a connective force to law enforcement. Absolutely. Who you're talking about.
Force multipliers.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Versus, clerical work, Snelling Services shows up and you're like, hey, let's just have you guys do a little bit of that.
That's a really nice polo you got there, man.
You look really good. So, so let's do this. I want to play for you Tim Keller's first ad. It's going to be his main ad for the first round anyway, before we get to a runoff here. So I want you to just listen to this, and then we're going to react to what he says in the message he's trying to run up the flagpole here.
Pop quiz. True or false? Tim Keller created the nation's first community safety department with mental health responders, so police are freed up to fight crime. He created before and after school programs for 10,000 children, 2,500 affordable housing units, and shelter with addiction treatment for 1,000 homeless. He's also blocking ICE if they don't have a warrant.
We're getting a lot more done than the news media is telling you about. Approved by Tim Keller.
Okay, quick thing on that. You may have seen our note there. It was our anniversary. Ava just wrote happy anniversary to us during the Tim Keller ad.
Nice.
So that's the best thing I saw in that Tim Keller ad.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
let's go ahead. Darren, first of all, you're
weird, a little bizarre. He just stands there with his head bopping back and forth, doesn't say a word, staring at a young girl. But besides that, I don't get it. I'm, and at the very end, this whole thing, like the media is responsible for the public saying you're doing a horrible job. This guy's on TV every day.
Right.
And I would argue the media has been incredibly soft
gracious
on him.
to him.
Oh, go read the Journal. You'd still think he's doing an incredible job.
Exactly. And so for him to say that this is the media's, they did this, they created this hostility towards me. Bro, I like calling him bro.
Yeah, no.
Bro,
He's a bro.
You brought this upon yourself. You decided that you would let crime and homelessness go unchecked. And when I say out I'm on the streets, if you fail to enforce the law, the lawless take over. And that's exactly what's happened here. And so it's on him. Nobody else. He's responsible for it. And most importantly, if you don't, they're the first ones to raise their hand when something good happens. Well, I guess what? You get the good and the bad. And right now it's pretty bad and it's pretty ugly. And it's on you.
What do you think about the way he ends that way, saying he's, with the whole ICE thing, that he's not going to go after and he's not going to support ICE unless they have a warrant? My understanding is that ICE 9 times out of 10 has the warrants already.
No, they don't need warrants.
Or they don't need warrants.
They don't need warrants, first of all. So look, Tim Keller wants to talk about anything other, and he loves talking about Donald Trump. And last time I checked, Donald Trump did not set up a tent city anywhere on our streets. He's not committing crimes. What the hell are you talking about? But again, it's this whole deflection. Let's talk about Washington, D.C. And if we talk about that enough, we won't talk about how bad our streets are here in our own city. 750 murders plus in less than 8 years under his watch. Sure, I can understand why he wants to talk about Donald Trump. Homeless that have completely taken over our streets to where city employees are cleaning up human waste. I get that he wants to talk about anything other than that. So,
and when you look at his approach to homelessness, a lot of people. Let's get into homelessness real quickly before we get to some polling data. The homeless issue is a tricky one in the respect that it's not easy to solve, and no one's saying it is. But if you create an environment in which you basically make it easy to be homeless in your community, you will not only get more homeless, but you'll draw people in from other communities that will come running in here because they say they'll let you do whatever you want in Albuquerque. And there are compassionate ways to deal with this, but there are also firm ways to deal with it along with that compassion so that you don't have the issues we have.
They will do anything except blame the homeless for the problems that we have. It was just a few weeks ago where they announced that apparently our bus stops were too big and too comfortable and inviting, and the homeless took them over. So they got together with their minds and they came up with a genius idea. We'll replace them all for a cost. Now they say it's $500,000, but we all know that it's a hell of a lot more than that. They're replacing all the bus stops and they're making them smaller and they've got bars across them because they don't want the homeless camping in the bus stops. What the hell are you thinking, man? It's the homeless, not the furniture. They constantly will point at anything except the homeless. When you look at First and I-40, it's disgusting. It's a cesspool. They have taken that over from all the way to from I-40 all the way up to Prospect, and the businesses that live in that area. My God, what they have to endure every single day. How they've been able to survive, I don't know. The one we talked about it in one of the other shows. The gentleman that he's right at First and Prospect. It's a lawnmower service. One of the homeless guys stabbed him.
Yeah,
and so.
Well, even we have good friends that own buildings around town, right? And they've shared they've said, oh, the city will do great at coming and covering up graffiti right away. Okay, because that probably reflects really quickly in some negative light on an election year is kind of my guess. But they continue to throw rocks through their windows. Oh. There's no more money to replace these windows, right? No. There's no security to come. So they're paying for additional security privately to have to cover their own buildings. And they're cleaning up human waste every day, every morning, needles, things of that nature. I mean, some of these buildings have kid programs going on in them, for example.
Yes.
And they're surrounded by these homeless folks. It doesn't seem to be getting any better, but yet you see Keller on the ad saying, I've invested all this money in basically, my understanding is the Gateway Center, right? So you have this Gateway Center that all the homeless are supposed to go to, but yet we don't require them to go there. I have friends that volunteer at the Gateway, and they say there's empty beds.
And that's great. I think we've spent hundreds of millions of dollars, and what do we have to show for it? But that's part of my plan, is that we do have that infrastructure. God only knows what we spent. So on day one, it will be, we will take the vans out, and we'll explain to them, you can either get in that van, or if you choose to stay here where your little camp is, we're going to cite you. And then if you refuse to leave, we're going to arrest you. It's not rocket science. We have laws on the books that say it is illegal to camp on our streets, on our sidewalks, and in our parks. And it's going to be enforced. Part of what Mark was saying, we make it too comfortable for them. And most of these people, they don't want the services. They want to be left to go out and do their panhandling and get their drugs and their alcohol or whatever it is and be left alone. Well, that is coming to an end. And so, I was told, oh my God, Darren, that's cruel. You know what cruel is? Raising your family around that tent city. I heard a woman say that she had to cover her kids' eyes because they drove out to take her kids to school and they were...
Yeah, doing all kinds of things.
Well, you know what's also cruel
is it's unbelievable. Even our own daughter, by the way, not even in tent city area. Pretty common,
it's everywhere now.
Pretty common area, filling her tank up with gas, and you've got homeless people literally having sex on the street. Literally.
And not only that.
That's disgusting.
But not only that, don't make no mistake. What they're doing with not only meth and not only trank and those things, this is a live suicide attempt. That's what they're heading to, right?
Sure.
It's death. It ends in one thing. It's progressive. It's a disease, and it ends with them dying on the street. Yeah. So tell me how that's compassionate to watch them do it.
And they are.
It isn't. And there's no question.
I mean, there's so many videos of that. It's called the bends, where they just sit there and bend.
Yep.
And that's everywhere. And you're right, Chris. There's not a place in our city that's immune from it.
Yeah, it really isn't anymore.
That's the biggest difference in this city from where we used to be.
That's exactly it, because now people see it and they're going, what the hell? What are we doing about it? Nothing.
Right.
That's what we're doing. Mayor Keller has told the police department, hands off. We'll take care of the homeless. Well, you're not doing a damn good job. Well, I mean,
honestly, the Marshalls right down on the street. I even told this to Mark. The Marshalls is right next to Hobby Lobby, right? Very popular shopping area. A homeless guy went in there and started a fire a couple of days ago. Just started a fire.
Not a couple of days, a couple of weeks ago. And it's still closed.
It's still closed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lit some bedding or something on fire.
Yes.
Was asked to leave by the employees and then went back and started a fire. So again, it's just like...
So it was a fire sale. No, not really. But look at this. So you guys, you're welcome.
He did that.
Yeah,
he did that.
He did. All right, so here are the numbers, though, by the way, to your points, right, on this. The biggest issue of concern for the people in the Albuquerque metro area right now, 53% said crime, 47% homelessness, opioid abuse, and then illegal drugs, and go down from there. Yep. This isn't even, these numbers, are staggering. You rarely get these type of numbers. So
I've never witnessed.
It's unreal,
like
right? So as you see that, and you know where we are as a city here, you see what kind of opportunity you have. So your campaign has been laser focused on this. You guys are running a smart campaign. There's no question. But how are you limited in this? Because what I see from the campaign is it's done very well here. What keeps you up at night when you look at this thing? Because it's not messaging. Your messaging is there. It's very tight. Your messaging here on the show is tight. So what concerns you the most about this race?
Demographics.
Yeah.
I mean, there's more of them than there are of us. And I mean, there's right now there's 46% Democrat, 28% Republican, 25% Independent. And so we have to be able to attract folks that aren't normally accustomed from leaving their tribe, because that's how we're tribal. But I can tell you from the people that I talk to, many of them are fed up, and they recognize we can't keep electing the same person and expect a different result. It's not going to happen. It's good, right? It is insanity. And if we do, I will guarantee you, if he does get reelected, nothing will change. Nothing will change. He will see it as a referendum that, hey, I mean, they love what I do.
Well, I think, Darren, it could actually get worse, because the point I made on the last show is that the two elected officials that we have in office are still in office. They were in office when Mark ran for governor. Nothing's changed. The governor's the same. The mayor's the same. What's changed is our crime rate has skyrocketed. Our violent offenses have skyrocketed. Which we talked about, us now being number one in the country per capita, which is lovely, top list to be on. And it's amazing to me that you say, okay, well, if we keep voting in the same people over and over, I think it gets worse, Darren. I don't even think it stays the same. I think what this has showed us the last 4 years is it's gotten worse.
I agree. I don't disagree with that. And you're right. And the one thing I always add to that is that, teens are, they're becoming killers at a younger age, and they're so much more vicious than they were. And we need to address that as well. And again, where is the legislature? They have had an opportunity to address this.
Multiple times.
Because they don't believe it.
Right.
You have to say to yourself, if you look at what's happening around our state, and especially in our city, and you have an opportunity to do something about it, and you ignore it, I mean, my God. I mean, that is such an arrogance, because it's like, hey, we've been in charge forever, so we get to call the shots the way we see them.
And that's our argument with the media, though, which is that we do not have a media structure in this state that goes to these people, whether it be, the trial lawyers in the Senate or whether it be the extremists in the New Mexico House, and say, wait a minute, look at where we are. Look at what you have done. You have been in unfettered control of the legislature for 80 years. You've largely been in control of pretty much every lever of power in this state for 10 years.
Or at least where they can impact something.
Yes. And so as you look at that, and there's absolutely no accountability, and you have people that get elected to this office that have no business serving in it. And because you don't have any sort of counterbalance, because you don't have a media that sticks up for its own citizens, I think that's been a huge deal. And you've seen the decay of the media in general. We've talked about the TV ratings are gone across this state. They're toast. The radio numbers are down. I mean, these numbers across the board, and the journal's hanging on by a thread.
Right. No, it's sooner or later something has to change. And I also say that's, and that's one of the reasons I'd like to get the job, because I would hope that people would believe me when I say I want this to end. I only want to serve 4 years. I've made that very, very clear. I'm not looking to pad my political resume, and Lord knows that the mayor's job is not a ticket to higher
office. No, it's not.
Get in job.
Get in job.
Yes. All right, so let's do this real quick. I want to play your ad.
Okay.
First of all, because it really does do a good job of focusing the attention on where it needs to be and what the issues are.
Tim Keller's record, over 750 homicides, homeless tent cities everywhere. We need change now. Republican Darren White for mayor, veteran of the elite 82nd Airborne, two-term sheriff, tough on crime.
8 years of failure is enough. No more sanctuary for criminals, and the tent encampments, they come down on day one.
Darren White for mayor.
I'm Darren White, and I approve this message because it's time for a change.
Paid for by Darren White for mayor.
Okay, that probably took you guys 55 seconds to write. Right? I mean, it's that that simple. It writes itself.
It's the message, right? I mean, you listen to the people, right? I mean, it's that simple, right?
Right. Let's talk a little bit before we get to this. I know you were in the Journal today, I believe, or Tuesday. You were in the
profiles.
Yeah, some profiles. So we're going to talk about that, but really quickly, and then we'll get into Sanctuary City stuff. But you approach the Sanctuary City policy in that ad. What's your take on Sanctuary City, and what's your strategy when it comes to that?
If you are in this country illegally and you are charged with a crime, your information should be turned over to ICE and allow them to make a decision. Not us, it's their decision. after they place, they put a detainer on the person. So basically what that says is that once they've finished serving their sentence, then they will make a determination on whether the person should be deported or not. And that's left up to them. But our responsibility is to work with them by providing them the data. This is not controversial. It's public safety. We have enough criminals of our own. We don't need more. And so, yes, of course, Tim Keller he's running around telling everybody, oh my God, fear ICE. They've created a tip line so that, if you're concerned that ICE is in your neighborhood, I mean, that is just literally, again, it's look over here, please, because I don't want you to look on the streets.
Well, what do you think about that? I mean, a tip line to me saying, hey, can I call to find out if ICE officers are coming into my neighborhood? I feel like that's putting law enforcement in danger.
Of course it is. And you're shielding criminals.
Right.
Because that's who they're going after. But yeah, I've that's been my stance forever. It's never changed. Is that if you're here illegally, you're charged with a crime, your information gets turned over to ICE. And, there's only a couple of us in this race that believe that.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the perfect time then, I think, to transition into a little bit of one of your opponents, I think, who's worth talking about in this respect, because I think he's one of the guys that people talk about. And I think he's one of the guys that Republicans have thought maybe we may be able to vote for. And that's Louie Sanchez. Okay. And so I want to get your take, first of all, on him. And I think there's very few people who have a chance to really make this a race. And I think that, you're the only person that can do that in our opinion. So Louie Sanchez, we talk about sanctuary cities. I recall on this show, and we're going to play the clip here, that when this vote went down, it happened on, I believe the vote went down June 3rd-ish, 2024.
June 3rd, 2024.
Okay. What was that vote? And where did Louie Sanchez come down on this?
It was an amendment that was offered. By
City Council.
Yes, in City Council, offered by, I believe, Brooke Bassan and Renee Grout. It would have amended the sanctuary city policy to say if the person is charged with a violent crime, human trafficking, or drug trafficking, then that information should be turned over from APD to ICE. Let me say that again. A violent crime, human trafficking, or drug trafficking. That's all that it said.
Super targeted.
It's very simple.
Yep.
Not hard to understand. And it failed. It failed on a 5-4 vote.
Well, it did, but I'm going to need to see the video then. I'm going to need to see the video
Let's
here.
play the video.
So let's play the video.
Right. Yeah.
And then let's just see how this went down and who voted for it.
I just think that we need to really, really take a deeper look at this in a whole different way. And again, I don't want to be involved in a bill that really, really serves.
This is Louie Sanchez.
To divide our community more than it is right now.
Councillor Baca.
So, by the way,
As amended, yes.
yes means
Councillor Bassan.
Vote
Yes.
to repeal.
means you want to get
Councillor
rid of the
Champagne.
sanctuary city, basically.
Yes.
For those three.
Yes.
Councillor Papercorn. No. Councillor Grout.
Yes.
Councillor Pena.
No.
Councillor Rogers.
No.
Councillor Sanchez.
No.
There it is.
Councillor Lewis.
Yes.
That Dan Lewis made it 5-4, but Dan Lewis gave it 4.
Failed
All five
on
Democrats,
a
all five
4-5
Democrats
vote.
voted against it.
Yep.
Now, here's the interesting thing.
So wait, he had a chance to end sanctuary cities.
He was the deciding
He
vote.
could have done it. He was the guy that was 5.
But with a
on
very
the 5-4.
narrow strike zone, an
Right.
important strike zone, but narrow. And he voted against it. Now, you heard him say that he didn't want to divide us. And that's left-wing talking points. But when he was called out on it, since we've been in these forums, the first thing he said is that the bill didn't include the language as otherwise required by law. I don't even know what the hell that means, but it doesn't. I was like, what? When he first said it. And then he changed by the next forum, and he said that he didn't want to give that bill gave all the power to the mayor. And that's what he's been saying. But he doesn't mention any of that when he voted, because now he realizes, man, I wished I wouldn't have done that. But you know what? When somebody tells you who they are, believe them.
Right.
We go back to that. Louie is not a conservative and he's not a moderate. he votes very liberal. And this is one example of several.
Okay, so then that gets back to this show. So when this happened, this was just after the primary elections in 2024. And so we had political consultant Jay McCleskey who helped in our campaign. So we bring him in regularly. Darren, I know that. We bring in you regularly. We bring in him regularly. So we have him on a day after the primaries, right? And we talked about all different sorts of primary stuff. But this vote had just happened. And so we were like, well, wait a minute, what did you think of this? And so this has a little bit of extra stuff in it because there was the Louie Sanchez who ran for the congressional seat, right? And then there's the Louie Sanchez who you're running against, right? And so there's so this was just after the Louie Sanchez who ran for the congressional seat lost. And then this Louie Sanchez went and voted to keep sanctuary cities. So we have this kind of roundabout discussion about all the different impacts of that. And the name Louie Sanchez for both of them could have kind of messed everything up. So at least for the Louie Sanchez who ran congressionally. So let's just listen to this. But you can hear Jay say during this thing that this very vote we just played for you, where he decided to keep sanctuary cities, was a vote he would deeply regret if he were to ever run for mayor.
So what happened at council? Like what?
Louie Sanchez voted against it.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's the swing vote. And so, again, this is the Louie Sanchez that's on the city council.
Not the Louie Sanchez that just ran for
which, incidentally, how much did that impact like election day voting when you have a Louie Sanchez cast the deciding vote to keep Sanctuary City alive, and then Louie Sanchez running for Congress gets beat?
That's an interesting point.
Interesting
yeah,
point.
No, it's a very fair point.
I wonder if Louie Sanchez is thinking that.
Yeah.
Today.
Which Louie Sanchez?
The one that's waking up today that isn't a candidate anymore.
Right. Well, no, it's possible. But this shows you, though, how tough this is, because you have a vote here, which I don't understand why he made this vote. I have no idea.
It doesn't make any sense. I think if there are words he went, or people talking about him wanting to run for mayor, this is a terrible vote. Like, you're Keller now.
Oh yeah, you are. You're Tim Keller, and you see all the issues that we have with crime, and he has at times stood up for that, and then now does this. And really, again, what we're asking for here is, and what this vote asked for by Grout and by Brooke Bassan was, look, let them work together to keep this safer. There it is.
Yeah. Well, it speaks for itself, and that's why I said it's. I believe when he cast that vote, it's what he believed.
Yeah.
And is he trying to change his tune now? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Like he's out there saying that no.
He changes his excuse all the time because, he's trying to get. He thinks people think that he's a conservative and that he'll be able to pull Republicans. And as I said, we highlighted a few of his votes, and this is one. I mean, he was the deciding vote on Sanctuary City. He was the deciding vote on guaranteed basic income, which is a socialist handout. And that was only in March of this year that he did that. And basically what that bill does, it allows the city now provides $750 a month in cash payments to a couple of hundred families. And one of the things that was discussed during that city council hearing on that bill for guaranteed basic income, Dan Lewis asked, will this money go to illegal immigrants? And the city basically said, yeah, we don't track that. So yeah.
Wow.
And he still voted for it. I will say that vote, guaranteed basic income, is one of the most liberal left-wing progressive votes that the council has made in a long time. And Louie was the deciding yes vote for it.
Yeah. Well, and this is one of the cases we always make too. And you talk about the governor's race, and there are some Republicans who are trying to say, "Oh, Sam Bregman could be a good option here." And let me tell you something: the same thing applies to both of these guys. Which is, if you are a true conservative, there are conservatives in these races. Darren's one where it's like we don't have to compromise and get some warmed over guy who you're hoping might vote with you a few times and not make it less bad. I mean, the reality of the situation is this vote, and the Sanctuary City vote especially, the UBI vote too. These things are exactly the kind of stuff that destroy cities. They just are. And so there's an opportunity here to change this trajectory. There are other people in the race though too. And there's been some real controversy here on what's going on because of the debate at Channel 7 today that's going down here. And by the way, you can watch it Wednesday night on Channel 7, or you can just go on their website. Starting Wednesday night, you're going to be able to see the debate. But two people that will not be in that debate are Mayling Armijo and Eddie Varela. They are two of the people that are not going to be in this because Channel 7 had to make a call. So I want to get your take on what you think of this and what you think of them not being on the stage with you guys Wednesday evening.
I would have been fine with them being there. So all the forums that we're at, the six of us show up, and yes, some of them are, one debate that we had, or forum that we had 30 seconds to describe what we would do to fight crime.
Oh my gosh.
And it makes you pull your hair out a little bit, but
you need to have a picture, Darren. Like you colored a picture and you're like, okay, here's a picture and I'm going to fix everything. There you go. I mean, what else can you get out in 30 seconds?
I'm Darren White. Here's my website. Go see it.
Yeah.
And so I get why they made the decision to narrow the field so that we can have a good, honest debate about the issues that are affecting our city. And so, but I also, as I said, I get why they're upset. They've been working hard, but they didn't really. Channel 7 sent us an email about 3-4 days before the Journal poll came out, and they told us they were going to do this. They said, look, we can't have you all up here, and there's just no way that it can be a very informative debate. So we're going to look at the Journal poll that comes out on Sunday, and we're going to look at the money that you've raised. And from there, we'll make a decision. And that's how we got to the four of us being up there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, fundraising-wise, let's talk about this, because I have been disappointed in the amount of money raised in this race, period. I've been disappointed that we haven't seen better numbers for everybody that isn't getting public financing. So tell me, how difficult has that been? Are you getting pushback? What is the pushback on this?
So a couple of things. You'd think that a poll would help me, like the Journal poll.
Yeah.
But it's almost been a little bit counterproductive, because now everybody's telling me I'm just going to wait till the runoff.
I was going to say, wait till the primary. That's the famous last words.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and so every donor would love to wait.
Exactly. So we filed our campaign finance reports. Look, I have run a very lean operation.
Right.
We have $150,000 left at this particular point. I'd like to raise a little bit more. Louie is sitting on about 50-some thousand, and so I'm happy with where we're at. Would I like to raise more money? Absolutely. First it was people didn't know. Well, isn't that election next year? Like, no, those are congressional races. Yeah. And so there's been a lot of stumbling blocks, but we've done very, very well with our mailers. I've have hundreds and hundreds of contributions, but it's just been difficult to get people to open up. And now it's, wait till the runoff.
Right. Well, and it's hard because I think when you see those undecided numbers being higher, I think that's number one, it's a window of opportunity for them to learn about you, right?
Right.
Watch the debates, learn more about you, but still it's about, you need the money to get the message to those same people, right? So it's like this, I know how this operates. I mean, we've walked this walk as well, that when people say, we will support you once the primary, you make it through the primary. Yeah. I think any candidate that's run has heard those words.
So what do you do as a campaign, though? So you're very careful about how you spend your money.
Absolutely.
And so you have to be very targeted on who you're sending. We've been doing mailers, we're on TV, and it's all very targeted. And that's one thing Jay is very, very good at. I would argue he's one of the best in the country at it. And so
we agree.
We have done a very, very, very good job of not just, you see some of the candidates, the way they're spending money on billboards and all kinds of stuff.
Billboards. Hey, look. Billboards win elections. Everybody knows that.
Well, they don't.
No, this is the best part, Darren, is so we had people that were like, why doesn't Mark have a billboard on I-25? He needs a billboard on I-25. And I'll never forget, Jay was like, two things don't win elections: signs and billboards. Because people always wanted our yard sign too. And he's like, yeah, those don't win elections. And it's like a running thing that has become a joke in our family where we're like, no, but people want the signs, Jay. Yeah. We got to get the signs. And
but so you want to see your challengers with them, though. It's like, you go out there and you spend that money because they'll work.
Yeah.
So again, you have to be very targeted and sparing. Spend the money where you need to, but don't spend it on things that aren't going to turn out the vote. Right. Period. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. And so where do you think, so tell me, what do you do down the stretch when you don't have, millions of dollars to, or I would argue, I think during the 1 month runoff, should you get there, I would think, look, for every business owner in Albuquerque, you're crazy not to invest in this race and try to stake you guys with $500,000 down the stretch to run a real hardcore campaign through the last 3-4 weeks. But what is your approach now, knowing that you're going to reach out to the voters you can? You'll do it through mailers. Mailers are interesting because mailers tend to be read by older voters. Who votes in municipal elections in an off year? Older voters. Like that. That's just what happens. Like those are what the numbers. Everybody says no one reads the mail anymore. They do actually.
Well, the beauty that we also have is, when you were running, everybody was in the mail.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's in the mail right now.
That's a good point.
We're by ourselves.
You're the only one. Hey, we've got it.
Exactly.
We got your mailer.
That helps as well, for sure.
So what are you doing then? So how do you maximize that as far as getting as much of the word out there as you possibly can without spending hundreds of thousands of dollars?
You continue to raise money. Look, I'm Irish and superstitious. It kind of goes hand in hand. But you never want to get ahead of your skis. But as we get closer, we have to have a plan that if we're fortunate enough to make it to the runoff, that we can't be sitting around putting it together the day after.
Right.
It's got to be put into effect immediately. So that's one of the things that we'll do is beforehand, we'll put some stuff together to say, all right, if we win or come in second, here's how we launch. Because it's a month. It's 5 weeks exactly.
Yeah.
And so we have to go out. We have to raise a lot of money in a short period of time. I also think, interestingly enough, I think that Keller, he's sitting on his money.
Yo, there's no question.
Yeah,
he is.
he's not. He's spending
he
money.
He doesn't get extra when it goes to a
Yes,
runoff, does he?
Yes. Yeah.
He does.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
What does he get? Do you know?
I can't remember what the number is, but it's a couple of hundred probably.
Oh my gosh.
But I've also been
is.
told that he can opt out at that point and say, I don't
raise
want
it much. Right. Raise
And
it
raise private
privately.
money.
Yeah. So I'm not 100% on this, but it just seems to me like he's not spending all of his money.
Well, he's not. But I wonder the other thing too is though that why would he opt out? Because you stay opted in to set up a PAC and then run it both ways.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
This is getting deep strategy, guys.
No, sorry.
Now our viewers might be falling asleep by this time.
Hey, look, this is very exciting stuff.
There's always is.
Yeah,
I love talking about this stuff.
I know you guys. You guys, we can have this whole conversation about strategy and campaign and fundraising, but
No, and so how is this? Is this thing as we'll wrap it up here in just a second? But how is this race different than you thought it was going to be?
Just that, how difficult it has been to raise money.
Yeah.
Just how low information this thing still is 3 weeks out.
Yep.
I mean, there's just not a lot of information at all. And so I think those are the two biggest things that have surprised me. But it doesn't keep you from, you just keep going for 3 weeks. I make calls every single day and I'm just going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And, while some of it takes some, Mark, I don't have to tell you, it takes numerous times. You have to touch them 5-6 times.
Oh, it's 7. Jay told me 7 message points
Okay.
until the person gets the information, right?
I'm not gonna argue
me.
that.
That's what
7.
he told me.
Okay.
That's a magic number, apparently.
Okay.
Now, this debate happening on Wednesday night. Any concern there? Are you fired up? You've done a debate before, but that's a lot of prep. A lot of people don't know about how much prep goes into a debate, and it's quite a bit. I know at least for Mark prepared quite a bit. I'm a high school debate teacher, not quite the same as what you're getting ready to walk into.
Yeah,
but
Darren, I just went to Christy and said, "What do I have to do?"
Yeah,
Christy's like, "Hey, let's just do this.
Spell it out for
I'm
me.
sorry,
spell it out.
he mocks me, but I went to college with a debate scholarship. It's not like I'm a rookie at this stuff. Yeah.
Well, I guess you should be on our debate.
I mean, come on now, people.
Yeah, you
So-
prep. I mean, I'm somebody that I always, from the beginning, I've taken time. You know what it is you want to say. But again, sometimes you have 30 seconds to say it. Sometimes you have a minute. And I'm a former radio talk show host. I'm used to having an hour to talk about things.
Yeah.
And so you really have so much in your head. Yeah. And, it's just like tomorrow, we get 60 seconds to answer a question. And I think it's 30-second follow-up, but 60 seconds to get to the meat and potatoes of an issue. So for me, it is putting my thoughts together so that I can get them out, obviously, intelligently and coherently and quickly.
And the interesting thing about this, though, which is that when you're in a debate with multiple people, you have multiple things and Darren, you didn't have to respond to this. I don't expect you to, but he's going to be standing up there. Yes, you want to drill Keller to some degree, but hello, you want to drill Louie. So if I'm Darren, Louie's knees are the first ones I'm going for. Okay, I just absolutely, because you don't get to Keller
Harding.
A little Jeff Galooly
you need
reference.
to do it.
That's fantastic.
I think it's important that you listen to everything everybody's saying, and I'm not afraid. And I've done this before in these forums. Is that somebody will say something, and I'll key on it. I'll make a note of it, and if I get a chance to bring it up again, I will.
Oh, absolutely. But if Ubias says something, I don't care. Ubias can literally light himself on fire, and I'd be like, all right, good enough. You move on. And then so I'm going after one of those two guys, and usually it's going to be Louie, because I got to get around him, which I think you're already around him, but still, that's the one guy.
I won't be alone, though, because Keller goes after Louie.
Well, that's true, too.
And one of the most craziest things that happened in this forum schedule that we have, we were at the FOP, and we were kind of wrapping up, and the mayor was one of the last ones to go, and he corrected something in his mind that I said. He tried to fact check me, I should say. And then he looked over at Louie, and he said, Louie, I want to thank you, because last year you voted to protect our immigrant-friendly status.
The kiss of death.
And I literally went, wow, that just happened.
Yeah.
I mean, so he and
he'll use that again probably in the debate.
Yeah, and there was one debate I wasn't at that. Apparently he did the same thing.
Yeah, that's going to be his go-to then.
Yeah.
He'll probably do that. I mean, you've had a little bit of lead up then with some of these forums. I mean, at least to kind of know
we
somewhat
can
to expect.
answer the questions for each of
you've
heard so much of it. So
Well, it is different, though. The one thing is, because you have a background in doing TV reporting and then radio, there is a difference when the camera goes on and it's a tight moment. The oxygen comes out of the room. Even for people who have experience in doing it, it is a different environment.
It gets intense.
And the whole thing is like when the TV cameras are on, it's you keep talking no matter what. The last thing in the world you want. Say something. It may not be the smartest thing you've ever said, but say something. Because if you just stand there with blank air, you look like an idiot.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
So I get it. No,
it's tough. I mean, when Mark did his, I was always in the green room, watching from the green room. And I am a pacer. So I'll start pacing because I just get really like nervous energy when you're like, say this, say that. Like you're like yelling at the TV like a football game, where you're like, don't forget to say this, and you're fired up. And so we wish you all the words of wisdom and that your brain is like sharp and rolling things out. Because you can't go in there with notes. A lot of people think you go in there with notes. There's no notes allowed.
No notes allowed.
I think you get a piece of paper and a pen once you get to your podium, right? If that's the way I
have my little strategy for that as well.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
You get right in there, you knock down 56 notes, and then you're good to go.
And then you kind of can remember things. But okay, so once again, let's tell people what's the best way. People ask all the time, like, how do we make change here? How do we make change here? And the one thing I always tell people is work on a campaign. Go volunteer for somebody other than just showing up to vote, clearly, right? That's number one. Get behind. If you've got $10, $20, throw it at somebody that can use it, and then volunteer for that campaighn. Are you still looking for volunteers? Are you still looking for help?
Absolutely, yes.
I assume that you were.
You never stop.
Where can they give and go?
So again, the DarrenWhiteForMayor.com is the webpage, and there's links in there that you can sign up to become a volunteer. There's also a donation page if you'd like to help us. It's all greatly appreciated, whether it's your cash or sweat equity. We love them both.
Yeah.
Because it's important to us. It really is the backbone of a campaign.
Having
people help you. Having people
huge.
help you. It's so important.
It's huge. And you've got some signs, right?
Yes, we've got signs.
You've got signs. You've got them now. So if you want to sign, people can get those as well.
Exactly.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
But no billboards.
No billboards. Okay. Well, thanks, Darren, for joining us. We appreciate it. Good luck. Good luck in this race.
Thank you.
You guys, just a quick note. Just remember that early voting is Saturday.
Start Saturday.
Okay. So you can do your early voting. And then November 4th is the main...
3 weeks from today.
The main thing. Okay. Thanks so much for tuning in. Again, you guys like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. And if you want to sign up for our email, just go to nodoubtaboutitpodcast.com. We appreciate you spending some time with us. God bless. Take care.
You've been listening to the No Doubt About It podcast. We hope you've enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at No Doubt About It Podcast.
No doubt about it.
The No Doubt About It podcast is a Choose Adventure Media production. See you next time on No Doubt About It.
There is no doubt about it.